Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a trying new makeup video, and I love these videos because it just gives me a chance to play around with all the new goodies that I've received and purchased over the past couple of weeks. So let me just give you a quick rundown of the things that we're going to be playing with today. So I've got the Orce Skin Perfecting Foundation. I have the Kogan Do Brightening Moisture Powder in their new shade Brightening Pink. That is very exciting. I don't know if I'll use this as a setting powder or finishing powder because Orce also sent over a setting powder. So maybe I'll use that for setting and this for finishing. Anyway, we'll figure it out as we go. I do have the new Meteorites in Pink Pearl. I haven't hauled this or mentioned this on my channel yet because a subscriber of mine was actually kind enough in sending this to me, and I haven't been able to get my hands on it. But anyway, we'll be using this as blush. I've got the two new Pat McGrath products, the Highlight and the Eye Quad, so we'll be using both of those. We've got the new Bite Beauty Mascara. I have like a cream contour product from Trinity London that I've been dying to try, and since I don't have any new bronzers or contour products, I thought I'd give this a shot today. And then finally, we'll be using the Kjaer Weis lipstick in Sincere, which is not new, but they did just send this to me for Valentine's Day, and I'm excited to apply this for you guys because the color is just, oh, it's absolutely perfect. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I mentioned, I have the Orce Skin Perfecting Foundation. I'm really excited to try out this foundation and this brand. This brand is a brand that was created by an Asian woman for Asian, I don't want to say skin, I guess Asian skin tones, because the tones of, you know, in general terms, there's a little bit more yellow in our skin tone. I actually have a little bit of pink in my undertones. The only reason why I have any warmth to my skin at all is just from sun exposure. Like my forehead being actually kind of a warm skin tone is just from sun exposure, but my natural skin tone, like if you were to look at my body, it has like a very pink kind of cool undertone, but my face is kind of different, and that's just from time and age. So anyway, they sent this over to me, and let me just go ahead and open this up. This was part of their Lunar New Year box, which was so beautiful, and that's why I also have the setting powder, because the box was like a set of the foundation and the powder. So here is the bottle. It's so beautiful. It is a glass bottle, and the shade that they sent me is 030 Illume. I think this may be a little bit deep for me, but we'll see what happens. This was made in the US, cruelty-free, fragrance-free, paraben-free, oil-free, phthalate-free, sulfate-free, talc-free, and gluten-free. And there are also some skin-loving ingredients in here. There's hyaluronic acid, lustrous pearls, and a Chinese herb that I can't pronounce. So I'm sure you can find all the information on their website, which of course I'll link down below in my description box. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna shake this up and just pump some out onto the back of my hand here. So here's the consistency. It's running just a little bit, but it does look fairly creamy. And yeah, I think this shade is probably a little bit too deep. It's probably actually perfect for my forehead, probably a little bit too deep for down here. But anyway, we're just gonna go with it. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Bobbi Brown Full Coverage Face Brush, and I'm just gonna dip in. I'm gonna start by just applying some to this half of my face. I don't feel like I'm putting on too much product, and yet I feel like there's some decent coverage. It has a really nice, you know, smooth, creamy texture. It's blending in really nicely and easily. And the shade definitely is a little bit too deep. I would probably go one shade down from Illume 030, I'd probably get 020. And I do think for my particular skin tone, I think it is a little bit too golden. It's a little bit too yellow for me, but it's like a perfect match for my forehead. I feel like I can carry it off. I would just have to kind of bring it down my neck, bronze, you know, do the whole thing. So here it is applied to this half of my face, and there it is without. So like I said, pretty decent coverage, and I didn't even use that whole pump. I just used about half of it and got that much coverage, which is pretty good, pretty good. I want to say it's like leaning towards medium there, yeah. And the finish of this foundation is actually on the more radiant side. It's a little bit more radiant than something I would say is kind of like skin-like, a little bit more radiant than that, but it's really nice. I don't feel like I look terribly oily or anything. I just have like this kind of nice sheen to my skin. So I'm just gonna finish applying to the rest of my face here. It's sitting really nicely on my skin. I'm kind of paying close attention to my eczema scarring here. Sometimes foundation doesn't sit nicely on that, but it looks really nice actually. It looks really nice around my nose, which is also kind of a problematic area on my face. It looks nice there. And you know, I had to say, as a YouTuber, using a foundation that is actually not your exact shade really allows you to see much more easily like if the foundation blended in nicely or not, because if it's like the same shade as your skin, you can't always see if it's like a little bit uneven, a little bit patchy, but when it's a different color, you can actually see it really, really easily. And I can tell that this is really even, really smooth, blended out like nicely, very, very nicely. All right, so we're off to a good start. That's the Orce foundation. I think I am gonna use the Orce setting powder to set this, and then use the Kogendo as finishing powder. So this is the beautiful package that the Orce Lunar New Year set comes in. And then here's like the box. And then the foundation was here, and I'm just gonna grab the powder. So here is the powder. This is so cool. So the inside has this like gold, like domed plate. And I just thought it was really cool looking, but when I showed this, when I hauled it, one of you very, very observantly said, oh, that's great, because when you pour the powder into the cap, like your powder brush can very easily kind of pick up the powder this way. And I thought, oh my God, you're so right. That's so amazing. So anyway, just wanted to point that out to you. And then I think they only have like one shade of this powder. It's like a translucent powder. And I just wanted to mention the second ingredient in here is cornstarch. I know some of you have like sensitivities to it or just a preference to cornstarch, whether you like it or not. So I just wanted to point that out to you. And then for the powder, we have like a half sifter here. And then this actually turns and you can cover your sifter. So a lot of really great thought went into the packaging of this loose powder, which is so wonderful. So I've got that open. I'm going to pour some into the cap. And I've got my Sunigi Master Face Brush. I'm just gonna pick some up. Ooh, this is really, really great. It does make a difference. Anyway, I picked some up on the brush. I'm just going to tap around the eye area and bring it down. So there it is on this half of my face, just a light amount. I have very dry skin, so I don't like to overdo it with powder. I really like to use as little as possible. So this is a very, very light amount on this half of my face, but you can see it kind of toned down the radiance a bit. It looks a little bit more satiny versus glowy. So let me go ahead and powder the rest of my face here. The powder definitely is translucent, but I do feel like it kind of toned down the foundation shade a little bit, and being that it was a little bit too deep for me, I think it actually helped a little bit. That is the foundation and the setting powder. Okay, next up we have the Trinny London, the contour cream, and it's called Cheekbones, and I have the shade Serena. That's this right here. It's like the perfect contour shade. So I'm gonna go in with like a cream cheek brush, but I'm not gonna use it to swipe because I do already have powder down. I'm gonna use it kind of more like to pounce. All right, so I've got my Zoeva Face Shape 110 brush. I'm gonna go into Serena, and I'm just kind of swirling it around, picking up just a little bit. And like I said, I'm just gonna pounce this product on just to make sure I don't kind of disturb anything underneath. And it looks like I picked up enough for both sides. And I'm just gonna pounce all around just to kind of soften up the edges there. Yeah, perfect, perfect shade for contour, this Serena, if you have a similar skin tone to mine. Great, great contour shade. And the Trinny London cream products, oh, they just have such a great texture. They blend in really easily, but they're not too emollient so that, I don't know, so that it like kind of breaks down makeup underneath. It moves a little bit too much. Yeah, it's just a really great consistency. It's like right in the middle. Just stamping a little the sides of my nose here. Nothing too, nothing too crazy. I'm terrible at nose contouring. Just a little light contouring just to kind of help out this bloated lockdown face with a little chiseling. Next up, blush. Oh, I'm really excited. So again, one of my amazing subscribers sent this Meteorites Pink Pearl over to me, and I could not thank her enough for kind of finding this and like ordering it and just hunting it down basically, because this sold out so quickly. So this came out for the spring 2021 collection, and this is, you know, Guerlain Meteorites, but it is very, very pink. And so you can use it as blush versus finishing powder, which is how I usually like to use Guerlain Meteorites. So I'm going to go ahead and, at least this is what I like to do, I take the little sponge protector that's on top, I take that out, and then I just turn it over and I just shake gently. And then I usually get enough powder on the lid for both cheeks, but we'll see what happens. So I've got my Refer number 5 brush, and just gonna pick up some of this powder and dust that on. These are Meteorites, so it does have a very strong violet scent, which I have come to just absolutely love, but I know many of you are not fond of the violet scent. So there's no difference here with these Meteorites. Same scent. Oh, how beautiful. Look at that pink, and then look at that pearly sheen that it has. Oh, wow. This does not disappoint at all. Such a beautiful sheen. Love it. All right, there is the Guerlain Pink Pearl. I really, really hope that they, I don't know, make more, distribute more or something, or make this part of the permanent line. Why not? Why not always have a blush version of the Meteorites? I am all for it. So anyway, that is Pink Pearl, and the cap of this looks just like the Spring 21 cap. It just has like white accenting on the top. All right, and now for highlight. I'm so excited to try this Pat McGrath highlighter in Divine Rose. So this is the one that comes in this beautiful metallic pink packaging. And here is the highlight. I'm gonna do a quick swatch for you guys because this just looks gorgeous. So there it is on the back of my hand. And in the pan, it looks very, very pink. But when I swatch it, there's a little bit of a pink kind of undertone in there, but what you really see is this like peachy champagne shade. Oh, so beautiful. All right, I've got my Sonia G Sculpt 2 brush here. I was gonna say, I'm just gonna pick up a little bit, but I kind of picked up a lot. So, okay, this brush picks up quite a bit of the highlight. Let me just tap some off here. Lightly dust here. Wow. Wow. Oof. Gorgeous. You know what I love about this one? It's so smooth. There aren't any like little glittery bits in there. It's just, oh, just this kind of like smooth layer of reflection on your cheeks. Oh, it's so pretty. And I didn't get along with Pat McGrath's other highlighter. The one, it was beautiful. It came in that gold packaging that you screwed off. It was super heavy. It looked like a hockey puck, but I didn't get along with that highlight. It just didn't pick up easily. It didn't go down very smoothly, but this one is incredible. And if you look at this product, you see how it's like baked right around the edges. You can see this actually looks like one of her giant special eyeshadows. If you look at the pan of those special eyeshadows, the 4 on the right in her big mothership palettes, that's what this looks like. It's like a giant version of those special eyeshadows. Okay, I'm gonna apply this to my other cheek, and then someone asked me to compare this to the Natasha Denona, the Love Cheek Duo highlight. I can tell you already that this one is a little bit more like peachy champagne. Okay, as I was poking around, I remember another comment, someone asking me to compare it to the Chanel Duo because this kind of has a pinkiness. Anyway, let me just go ahead and swatch all of these for you. Okay, so from left to right, we have the new Pat McGrath Divine Rose highlighter, and then we have the Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo highlighter. And then we have the Chanel Blush and Highlighter Duo from the Spring 21 collection. And then we have the previous Pat McGrath highlighter, the one that comes in the gold compact, the gold kind of hockey puck packaging. The Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo, that one is much cooler. You can see that it has a really strong, very cool pink base to it. And then you can see that the Chanel one is a lot peachier, and the Pat McGrath one is just a little bit deeper, and it doesn't have quite the complexity as at least the first two. There's no kind of like duochrome kind of shift there. It's a pretty kind of straightforward kind of shade. I will say, out of the three new ones, the Pat McGrath, the Natasha Denona, and the Chanel, I think the Pat McGrath is the most universal. It looks like something that I could wear very easily with like any kind of blush, and it would blend in nicely. Okay, no new eyebrows, so I'm just throwing in some of the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel here. And then we can move on to the Pat McGrath quad. All right, so here is the quad. Same packaging as her other quads. And these eyeshadows are like pressed powders. They're not her baked eyeshadows. So here are some swatches. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch from left to right, top to bottom. And let's see, do these have shade names? Oh, they do. Okay, so the first one is Pink Mystique. Next we have Temptation. Then we have Earthly Delight. And then we have Forbidden Fruit, which is such an incredible metallic shade. So each shadow is 1.72 grams. It is made in the US of US and imported ingredients. And the shelf life on this is 12 months from the time it's open. All right, so like I mentioned in my haul video, I'm really attracted to these mauvey shades, but I'm gonna try and use all four shades. I think I'm actually gonna start with this pink shade that I didn't think I'd be able to use. I'm gonna start with that pink shade, and I've got my, oh wow, this is, I literally dipped this brush in once. Holy smokes. This is the Sonia G Crease Pro Brush. I'm gonna knock a lot of this off. And I'm going to apply to the inner portion of my lid. All right, there it is applied to the inner portion of my lids. I just kind of dragged it up and out. And then I'm gonna take the same brush and I'm gonna go into that Earthly Delights shade and apply this to the outer corner and drag that in. All right, so those are the two matte shades down. And now what I want to do is just kind of layer these more exciting shades on top. So I'm going to start with this shade over here. This is Pink Mystique. And this shade is not just a satiny shade. It's actually a little bit of a duochrome. So it's like a peachy with like a little bit of a pink undertone. It's actually very similar to the highlight. So I want to see what that looks like on my lids. I am putting it on over this pink, so it's probably gonna look a little bit more pink than the highlight, but let's see what happens. All right, I've got my Rephr number 2 brush, and I'm just going to swipe this over the pink matte shade. Yeah, you still see this kind of like peachy champagne shimmer in there, and then it kind of shifts to like a pink. Oh, this shade is really pretty. All right, so there's Pink Mystique applied to both lids. Oh, so nice. I'm just gonna take that same brush, I'm just gonna flip it around, and I'm gonna go into Forbidden Fruit, which is this insane metallic shade. It's so cool. And I'm gonna apply this to the outer corner and bring that in. It's just such a like super high shine, almost like foily, kind of deep mauve grape shade. So there is that shade applied. Oh, that's so much fun. I hope the light is catching like how bright it is. And I would not normally do this. I would probably normally go into this shade and kind of drag it, you know, on my lower lash line, but I think I'm gonna drag this shade on my lower lash line. That's how much I love it. I'm gonna use the tips of this Rephr brush that I've been using and just pick up some product. And I'm going to start by kind of stamping it. And then I'm going to blend it in. Yeah, I'm not used to using like shimmery shades on the lower lash line. Usually I just like to stick to a matte just to add a little bit of dimension, kind of balance things out. But this is a lot of fun. All right, there is the eyeshadow applied. I feel like I want to bring it a little bit higher, which I know I don't usually do. And when I do, so many of you encouraged me to do it a little bit more. I just think it looks a little bit odd, but I'm going to try today. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit more. I'm going to use a really fluffy blending brush. This is the Esom G34 brush. I usually use this with no product and just kind of blend out my top edge, but I'm going to grab a little bit of this pink Temptation, this matte shade, just a hint of it, and drag this along the top here. All right, so there it is, kind of brought up almost to my brow, and here it is kind of plain. All right, so eyeshadow is done. Let me go ahead and curl my lashes and apply, oh yeah, I was like, do I have a new mascara? Duh, I was so excited for this. The Bite Upswing Full Volume Mascara. Cannot wait to put this on. So I'm gonna curl my lashes and I'll be right back. All right, so here we have the Bite Beauty Mascara. Am I holding that upside down? Yeah. The Bite Beauty Mascara. And I've just seen so many people using this mascara and it just looks so amazing. Granted, I don't have the lashes that they're starting with. I saw this on Alana Davison. I saw this on Kate the Great Beauty. They both have really like long, beautiful lashes, which I don't have. So anyway, we'll see if it works for me. Oh, the wand is actually pretty big. It is like that hourglass shape kind of wand. And I'm going to wipe off, it looks like there's a lot of product on here. So I'm going to wipe off some of the excess product and then go in. And do you guys remember when I used that Dior mascara and I caught a glimpse of the graphic on the box? And the graphic basically showed that you should use it like the U. It was a curved wand and you should use it as a U this way instead of it kind of shaped as your eye, sort of the opposite way. And I was like, my mind was completely blown because I had always used it like an upside down U this way instead of an actual U this way. And if you look at these wands, you're basically using it as like a U. I can't believe, like, for so long I had been using those wands in the wrong direction. And so many of you commented like, oh no, that seems wrong. Like I'm always going to use it like an upside down U. And I'm like, I don't know if it makes a difference. And is there a right or wrong? Probably not. But anyway, I'm just realizing that as I use this wand that I'm like, oh, this is like an upside down U, just like that Dior illustration. Okay, so far, I really like the lengthening that it's giving my lashes. And also, I don't know if you guys can tell, it's like holding my curl, you know, a little bit better than the average mascara. Usually by now my lashes are like completely straight again, but they still have a little bit of a lift to them. All right, so that's just one coat. Yeah, a lot of volume, if you can see the difference there. And I'm just not the biggest fan personally of this aesthetic. I kind of like them a little wispier because I just don't have a lot of lashes. And when you make them volumized like that, I feel like I look like I have less lashes. Like each lash is thicker, but I have less of them. And I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I have to say, I do feel like my lashes look like they're fake lashes. That's kind of amazing. They do look a lot longer, which I welcome, which I really, really welcome. I think if I left it with one coat, I feel like that's just like a little bit more me, but this is like, you can see my lashes. Wow. All right, so far this is living up to its reputation. Lovely. All right, moving on to lips. Yes, I wanted to try the Kjaer Weis lipstick that they sent me in Sincere. This, again, is not a new product at all, but they sent this over to me for Valentine's Day, which huge thank you to Kjaer Weis. But this color is so me. So here is the Sincere shade. It's just such a beautiful nude. Oh, doesn't that look great? And if you are unaware, the Kjaer Weis lipsticks are refillable. So you just pull them out and push the refill back in. That's it. All right, there is the Kjaer Weis lipstick. Oh, such a nice nude. It's rich, but it's not too deep. You know, it's not too dramatic. This is a great everyday nude. And then we just have one last thing to play with, and that is the Kogen Do Brightening Moisture Powder. So again, we're using this as a finishing powder, which I work differently than a setting powder. So a setting powder, you know, is just to set my foundation and concealer or whatever I have on as a base. And I just kind of like to pounce that powder down and just, you know, kind of use just enough to kind of set everything down. Finishing powder I like to use to give me a nice finish to my skin. I really like a pearly sheen to my skin. I really like something that is going to make me glow, but not, you know, nothing too radiant. It's not like I want to buff in like a highlighter or anything like that, but I do like a little bit of a sheen. And these brightening moisture powders from Kogen Do are so beautiful. This is the original one. So this one has more of like a beige tone to it. It looks like a latte. And then this new one that they've come out with, this is brightening pink. And so instead of the beige in there, we have like a pink. So this is great for cooler skin tones. And I would imagine it's probably even more brightening than the original. So the only, well, I can say brushes now. I was going to say brush, but the only brushes I like to use with finishing powders is the Sonia G Face One brush and her smooth buffer brush. The Face One brush is my favorite in terms of finishing because it's just a little bit bigger and it's a little bit more efficient. But this brush is always sold out. I don't know if this brush is sold out at the moment. I don't think so, but this one is just a little bit smaller, and it's great if you just kind of like to finish or use your finishing powder to kind of buff in product. So sometimes, you know, what I like to avoid is that Neapolitan look, that like chocolate, strawberry, vanilla look of your bronzer, blush, and highlight. And so I'll use my finishing powder just to blend everything in together. The smooth buffer is great for that because it's just, you know, for like a nice targeted area. Of course, you can use it all over your face. It's just not quite as efficient as the Face One, which is a little bit bigger. Anyway, I'm going to be using the smooth buffer brush, and I'm just going to be pouncing it onto this powder. This powder is soft. It's definitely a soft powder, and you can see I picked up quite a bit. I'm just going to knock some off, and I like to stamp this powder down. And I really like to use finishing on this part. I don't like to get up too close to my eye, so I like to kind of focus it here. I like to kind of do it on my forehead, a little bit on my chin, and that's about it. So just gonna buff. So circular motions is what I like to do. And every time I do this, I envision, I don't know if you guys have ever seen or been in like a big office building where they have those like polished marble floors, and then late at night, you know, the crew comes out and there's one guy that's kind of like riding this, it looks like a mini Zamboni, and it polishes the floor. That's what I always think of when I do this. I'm like, I'm just polishing up my face. So here's that brightening moisture powder. Do you see that beautiful pearl sheen? And here it is without, just so you have reference. So no finishing powder and finishing powder. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my face. Wow, this was also the perfect step for a foundation that was a little bit too deep for me, because now I think it totally works. Now I think you can't see that like tonal difference. This really cooled it down quite a bit. All right, so those were all of the things that I wanted to use in this trying new makeup video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a lot of fun, and I think everything has turned out really nicely. I really like the, oh, I buffed my eyebrows out of place right here. I really like the foundation. It's sitting on my skin beautifully. It's behaving really nicely under all of the other stuff I just put on top of it. Sometimes, you know, sometimes foundations don't play that nicely with other things, but this sitting beautifully. Well, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.